What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. And break down what's going on with the economic calendar moving forward. And you should be watching for as time goes on, as there's lots of bulls who are still trying to step into the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or use my QR code right over here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia plus a $100 cash reward. Deposits $10,000 or more to get $300 worth of Nvidia plus $100, or deposits $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia plus $100. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and the offer ends very soon, so please use my link down below to sign up. Anyways, as far as the market's going, I just want to mention that right now, we're favoring the upwards direction after getting a very, very nice close on Friday. A lot of buyers stepped in since PCE was aligned with expectations. And overall, there wasn't really anything that was too negative to cause the market to just continue to dump. Ever since we got that sell-off after FOMC and after some of the negative things that the market kind of interpreted from what we heard from different Fed speakers, we ended up getting a bounce after that. And there's lots of buyers who are still present who are defending these EMAs quite nicely. We're still holding supports, and we haven't really seen SPY really or truly see a big break. So the question is, will we continue to bounce higher? What's going to be affecting this market, or are we about to get a big rug pull? If SPY fails at this 659 area, if we close below 659, we could shift the trend a bit more bearish, and we could end up seeing this thing retest the lows. But as long as we're above these EMAs tomorrow and by close, we're going to be favoring a move higher to once again retest this imbalance, which happens to be around the 664s. And we could be looking for a very, very nice bounce. So the question is, will we bounce or not? What's going to be affecting the market? I'll give you guys some answers first, and then I'll break down more details about these charts. But so far, SPY and the QQQ are holding supports, and they do favor upside, at least technically speaking. Now, why is tomorrow going to be an important day? Well, we have some data coming out. Keep in mind that we have Waller and Hammock and a couple of Fed speakers giving speeches throughout the day. And then we also have pending home sales at 10 o'clock a.m. alongside the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index at 10:30 a.m. That's going to be very important, so be ready for some volatility around the 10 a.m. hour. Might be some volatility at that time, but honestly, guys, there's not way too much data that's too big tomorrow. Tomorrow's a more quiet data day. Things get more serious on like Tuesday when we have the JOLTS report and more jobs numbers on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we also have the start of October. And that's when we have even more data coming out. So we're approaching the end of September and the start of October. That's another, important thing to remember, because you have to remember that when October starts, there could be a shift in seasonality that affects the way the market moves. So typically October is known for being bearish. Will the market just dump in October? Will it just rally? We'll have to see about that. We're not there yet, so we have a couple of days until then, which is why we have to be very patient. But at the same time, just have that in the back of your guys' heads. Be ready for when October starts. Things could still shift in the markets. But for tomorrow, it's more of a quiet day. It's the last Monday of September 2025, and we just have a couple of Fed speakers and then some home sales data. When it comes to our fear and greed index, right now we're quite neutral. We're not super greedy or super fearful. Because we're neutral, just shows the market still has potential to bounce more, because it still could see buyers defending. Momentum is neutral. It's not doing too bad right now. The put to call option ratio is at greed. This may continue to climb higher though, so watch that very closely. And the VIX is neutral. We're going to see if this bounces or not, so watch that very closely. Finally, I just want to talk about two more things. Earnings are going to conclude for this cycle. We just have like Nike announcing earnings this week and a few more. But in the upcoming weeks, the big bank earnings will be coming. Then we have tech earnings again. Since we're approaching the end of the quarters, that could also cause some volatility. So be ready for that as well. We'll see what happens at least towards the end of this quarter. And the next quarterly earnings is going to be starting very soon. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is this. This is going to be another factor for the week: President Trump and his tariffs. As you guys know, President Trump first announced that starting October 1st, 2025, he's going to be imposing a 100% tariff on any branded or patented pharmaceutical products, unless the company is building their pharmaceutical manufacturing plants in America. So that's a very important piece of news. Then he also announced that there's going to be a 50% tariff on all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and other associated products starting October 1st. And then he's going to be charging a 30% tariff on other pieces of furniture. Finally, he also mentioned that to protect the US's great heavy truck manufacturers from unfair outside competition. That's how he describes it, right? He claims that to do that, he wants to protect the industry by imposing a 25% tariff on all heavy big trucks starting on October 1st. So that's his view, that's his interpretation. This is important news because you have to remember that with President Trump's tariffs coming out, it could be affecting some industries. And on top of this, President Trump could also be unpredictable sometimes. Sometimes, you could argue he's doing this for what he deems to be negotiation tactics. Sometimes it could be other things, whatever, his intention is. But you have to remember that President Trump does tend to change policy a lot. He could be, once again, doubling down on the tariffs. He could be announcing more tariffs on semiconductors or other products that could be shaking the markets if he does make a big announcement like that. Or he could be delaying these tariffs for negotiation reasons or such. He could be doing all kinds of different things, and you never know exactly what he's going to be doing beforehand, which is why you want to be very, very careful. We're going to see if he's going to be doing this or not. Will he impose these tariffs? Will he delay them? Will he double down on them? Will he announce more tariffs on semiconductors? We'll see about that. That's why you want to be very careful with this coming out for the week. For now, the market is still bullish. We're going to likely try to go higher if we break resistance, but keep in mind to be very, very careful just in case we get some kind of big policy shift. Now, going to the daily time frame on SPY, we're looking quite bullish. We have a bullish looking daily candlestick. This does typically signify we could be going higher to fill this imbalance, and there could be a lot more buyers who do attempt to step in. So for now, there is potential to go higher on stocks like Tesla and SPY and the overall markets. But just to be safe, it's always important to know what the bullish and bearish cases are. It's also very important to know what news is going to be coming out just to be safe. So without further ado, I'm going to be talking about what's happening with the overall market and just focus on technicals. So what's going to happen at least from this point on? Looking at the 4-hour time frame on SPY, okay, we're doing a fantastic job at holding up and we're curling on the 4-hour time frame, which is a very, very good sign in my opinion. So that basically implies we're going to be favoring upside. If we get bad news, the hypothetical bearish case is going to be that you want to see us lose once again that 659 to 658 area. If SPY does not hold 658, I do expect us to be dumping back down to these lows. So you want to be very, very careful in that range. If we lose our 50 EMA, we're looking for a big move down. If we're bullish, however, if you want to be a big bull, you want to see us basically break past 662.5 or above. If we break that, we're looking for an attempt for 665 plus to fill this imbalance right up here. Now, looking at the 4-hour, we do look more bullish, but we have to break 662.5 as resistance and get out of the 662s first. And then we're going to be expecting 665 after that if we get that kind of break. So what's more likely to happen? What's my prediction? Well, I think that as long as there's no bad news, we're going to be favoring consolidation tomorrow morning like this. And then as time goes on, we're going to likely try to slowly uptrend for 665 because this also resembles an inverse head and shoulders. This is like a nice accumulation, and there are buyers who are defending very, very nicely. We might start off with a bit of a dip in some consolidation, around 662. But then as time goes on, I do think this could be pushing for 665 to 666 for a nice push higher. I think that's the most likely possibility for SPY with all the buyers who are continuing to step in. For the QQQ, we have the same setup. Now, the QQQ is forming kind of like a double bottom. This also somewhat resembles a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. If you want to be a bear, you want to see us lose 592 to 590. If that fails us, we're looking for a big dump back down. If you want to be a bull, you want to see us basically hold above 595 as long as that holds. We're looking for an attempt for 598 to 600 for a nice push higher. That's going to be the more bullish case if we do see some kind of bounce. But honestly, with this accumulation right over here that's forming, I think that the odds favor basically that this will reaccumulate just like this and slowly start pushing back up closer to 600. I find that to be the most likely possibility as buyers are continuing to step in. And I think that with this inverse head and shoulders, we're going to be trying to go even higher for that 600 area. So I think that the odds favor this accumulation. And then I think that the odds are going to be favoring 598 to 600, and we're going to likely see some more buyers stepping in on the QQQ. So long as we don't lose 592 to 590, this should try to reaccumulate and bounce because the 4-hour looks decent. It's looking more bullish as we closed above our EMAs, and the daily looks quite strong. We have a nice wick forming here, and this is favoring the upwards direction to retest this resistance to at least 598. So the QQQ looks a bit more bullish to me. On the IWM, the Russell 2000 also looks a bit more bullish. We're above our EMAs as well. If we end up losing 240, this could turn back down, but as long as we hold above 240, we should consolidate and slowly push back up towards that 244 area. This also resembles an inverse head and shoulders. If you want to be a bear, you want to see us lose 238. If 238 fails on the IWM, we're back to bearish. We're looking for a move back down. So be careful. But we're actually favoring that that's not very likely. The most likely possibility is this accumulation, like I said before, and then a nice attempt to push back up into the 242, then 244 area. On ES also has an inverse head and shoulders. We have a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. Now, if you want to be a bear, just hypothetically, if you want to see us lose 66.50, we're looking for a dump right back down towards these lows. But if you want to be a bull, you want to see us hold above 6,700. So that's the main range. 6650 to 6,700 is a range. If we break and hold above 6,700 tomorrow, I'm going to be looking for an attempt for 6,725. Now, the 4 hours making higher lows, or at least it's trying to do so. We have an inverse head and shoulders like pattern, which would align for at least 67.25 plus. And then also we're looking bullish on the 4 hour. So we're favoring a retest of this high. That's the most likely possibility on ES. On NQ, we have the same thing going on. We have a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. Now, if we end up losing 24,500, we're looking for a dump back down in case that fails us. But as long as we're above 24,500, this could continue to uptrend. We might like consolidate like this and start pushing back up towards 24,800 plus for an inverse head and shoulders. I think that's what NQ is favoring. Looking at Bitcoin, right now Bitcoin's pushing. So instead of dipping below 110,000, as long as we're above that, we're going to be favoring 111,500 plus. On Tesla, we're doing a fantastic job right now. We're actually forming a nice range. I need to see Tesla lose basically that 430 area to start dipping. But as long as we're above 440, we're looking for 445 as our resistance and eventually the 450s. So because we're holding support, I'm favoring 445 and the 450s as our resistances. And I think there's a great, amount of potential in this. So I'm favoring upside for the 450s on Tesla. I think we're doing a fantastic job, at least thus far. On Nvda, we have a nice looking accumulation. Now, if we end up losing 176 to 175, we're looking for a dump, but as long as this holds, we're going to be favoring an attempt for the 180 area. So I think we're doing a good job. What else I like about Nvda is that this also resembles a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. So as long as we don't lose 176, I think that this might reaccumulate and start pushing for the 180s. On Appl, we also have a nice accumulation as long as we don't lose 252.5. We're going to be favoring a nice attempt for essentially 258. So right now, Apple's looking more bullish. I just don't want to see us lose 252.5, so we're still looking quite good. On Netflix, we have a double bottom right here. We have an inverse head and shoulders. If we break 1214, we're going to be looking for an attempt for 1220. But if we end up losing basically 1200, we're looking for a dump back down. We're actually making a higher low here. If 1214 breaks, we're looking for an attempt for 1220. I think there's a good chance we try to go even higher. For MSTR, we have a resistance at 318. If that breaks, we're going to be going even higher. I favor upside for now and a retest of that area. Celsius is also looking more bullish. We're going to be favoring an attempt for the 56 mark, this resistance right here. We're testing the 55 resistance. I think we could break this and just try to reaccumulate. We look more bullish to me. For Supermicro, if we end up losing 45, we're going to be looking for a big dump. If we break past 45.9, we're looking for a nice rebound. So if we break 46 plus, we're looking for a attempt for 47. I see some upside potential. If we break 178.26, we're going to be trying to push for 180. If we lose 174, we're looking for a dump. We're actually trying to make a higher low here. So we're favoring an attempt for 178 to 180 is our resistance. For Rivian, if we end up losing 15.43, we're looking for a dump back down to below 15. But I think that there's a good chance we try to bounce off 15.43. Hopefully we try to hold that. We do look a little bit more bearish now, so look for some downside before it attempts to bounce. SoFi's range bound between 28.35 and 27.8. It looks a little bit weak here. It's making lower highs. It might kind of consolidate and slowly dip back down to 27.5. Unless we get back above 29, we're still favoring a downtrend. AMD is on a bit of a downtrend as well for the shorter term. I want to see this get back above 160 to be bullish, but if we lose 157, we could dip back down to the lows from the pre-market on Friday. So I think this might retest 158 flat and it's going to try to bounce, but it's very tight right now until we see a big move. It's just kind of stuck. ARM is also forming a double bottom. If we lose 138, we're bearish, but if we break past 141, we're going to be turning back up. I'm going to be favoring 141 as our resistance. We'll have to see how it goes. PayPal has a double bottom right here. We have resistance at 67.73. If that breaks, we're looking for 68 plus. But if we lose 66.6, we're going to be turning back down. Right now, we're favoring 68, and we'll see if we break past that or not. Coinbase has a double bottom accumulation. We're looking for an attempt for 318 tomorrow. I think it might be going a bit higher. As long as we don't lose 305, it should bounce. Amazon's favoring 222 as our resistance. It's going to likely be testing that tomorrow. Meta should be testing 746. We'll see if it rejects off that. If we break that, we're going for 750. I want to see 746 break to turn more bullish. Google's range bound between 248 and 246. We're going to likely see a lot of sideways price action in this range, at least for the time being. We're just kind of going back and forth between supply and demand. Might retest 248 and then just consolidate for now. And then Microsoft has a nice looking double bottom here. If we lose 510, we're looking for a big dump. As long as we're above this, we're going to be favoring 514 as our resistance. That 514 to 515 area is going to be next. For DJT, we have a nice looking accumulation right here. We could be looking for a 10 for 17.13. And we're going to see how it goes here, but I want to see if we can break past this or not. I do see some upside potential, at least nonetheless. Now, the VIX, it has kind of like a bear flag like pattern here, but it's not just that. It's also because of our EMAs, which are now pointing downward. And because this trend is looking weak, the VIX is going to be favoring a move like this, where it kind of like accumulates and starts dipping lower. I think it's going to just reject and just continue to dump. As of right now, that's what this is favoring. And maybe into October, once this forms another bottom, this will eventually try to bounce again. But until then, this is still favoring downside for now, and that could be indicative of more upside for the markets. Another correlation that's worth mentioning. The 10-year is going higher, not really affecting things, but the dollar is at resistance at the 98.5 area. So we'll see if that causes another rejection. That could be a sign the market wants to push. Crude is also dipping a bit, so hopefully that could also be decent for the markets, but we'll see about that. This is kind of like a neutral indicator. So with that being said, okay, to me, SPY and the QQQ are looking more bullish as long as we don't lose any critical support. If we get bad news tomorrow, we could end up losing support at 658, but we don't really have that right now, right? That's like the hypothetical bearish case. But that's not looking very, very likely right now. We're favoring the bullish case. That's a lot more likely. We're more likely to go higher on SPY, the QQQ, ES, futures, and etc. Looking at the setups right now, we're favoring a nice push so far. So even though we are looking more bullish right now, I do also want to warn you guys, we're getting closer to October and President Trump does have more tariffs coming up. So this could be affecting volatility. So be very careful once we get close to October. Once October starts on Wednesday, be careful. But until then, we are looking bullish for now, so we're just going to follow the trend in front of us, play the chart in front of you, and just know that for now we're looking more bullish, and that's the best thing I can really tell you. So right now we're looking bullish. We'll see if we end up holding supports, but for now we're just going to play the trends, and just know that that's what I'm predicting at least going into tomorrow. With that being said, I'll be back tomorrow morning before market open to give you guys another update. Until then, I wish you all nothing but the best. Please take care and enjoy the rest of your guys' weekends. Once again, I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good weekend, guys, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you for listening, and peace out.